want to talk about goaltending for a second because Cayden Primeau has got a save percentage below 850 for the season. He had a 640 save percentage Monday afternoon when he got pulled. And Sam Montembeault came in and locked down the Canadiens' 7-5 win over Buffalo. I am no longer concerned about losing Cayden Primeau to waivers. I don't think that's a legitimate threat. I'm ready to pull the chute. I'm ready for Jakub Dobiš. I'm ready for Connor Hughes. I'm ready to see another goaltender inside the infrastructure of the Canadiens. I know Jacob Fowler at Boston College is, years away, right? I mean, he had a great season last year. He's 7-1 already this season. As I mentioned already, he's got 3 shutouts in 8 games. And he's got Fowler's save percentage in NCAA is .950 with BC after 8 games. It's crazy. But that's years away. In the here and now, you got Sam Montembeault, you've got Cayden Primeau, you got Connor Hughes, and Jakub Dobiš. These 4 guys are all at the pro level. Walk me through how you feeling about Cayden Primeau. Are you worried about another team putting a claimer on him if he does get sent down because you still believe in him? You have an appetite to see someone else play with Sam Montembeault this year? I'm worried about the Canadiens' depth goaltending. And it's weird to say because you and I are not that far apart in age. And you and I both have this in common. We have always seen great goaltending in this market. Always.
I don't want to be seen as being mean or rude, but I'll just speak what I see as the truth for me. I mentioned before I was never a fan of Justin Barron. I suspect I never will be. I just think the stage is too big for him. When it comes to Cayden Primeau, I think you mentioned the save percentage is .845. That's what it is. He'll be 26 years old next August. 26. So what is it? Maya Angelou said, when someone shows you who they are, believe it. There have been a few interviews where I've seen him talk, and just there was something there for me that was missing. Some kind of decisive type of quality from a personality standpoint. A fighter. He looks small in his net a lot of the time. I see him, he sort of backs up in his crease and just and he's a big dude. He's not a small guy, right? I've got him here at 6'3", so he's not small, but he doesn't play 6'3". I haven't really been a fan of his, but you wanted to give him some time. Goaltenders can take longer to develop. But I think at this point in time, there are better options available. Goaltending, it's tough to find good goalies now. Now we're sort of, maybe we are disappointed that we got rid of Jake Allen, right? Because he's a hell of a backup goaltender. But I think at this point in time, Cayden Primeau has shown the Canadiens and fans who he is. Maybe it's time to move on. Maybe a reset for him will help him elsewhere. I think if you put him on waivers, no one will grab him. If they do, maybe that's better for us because maybe that will make that team lose more games. We may catch up in the standings. But I don't think Cayden Primeau is a backup goalie of the future for the Montreal Canadiens, and it may well be time to move on.
You know what the lesson I learned from all of this? That if Ken Hughes traded Jake Allen and he graduated Cayden Primeau to play with Sam Montembeault, you know who the Canadiens' center depth would look like today? Do you know what it would look like today?
No, tell me.
Connor Bedard, Nick Suzuki, and I don't care because I've got Connor Bedard. That's what I would always say on your show. Remember what I always say to you? The Canadiens made the worst trade in history, Montembeault for Bedard. That was effectively the trade. There it is. Yeah. With Eric Macramella, friend to the show.
And by the way, that was a mistake made by management.
Of course,
allowing the team to win too many games.
Of course, it was.
At the time, you weren't so big.
I was not on board.
Ranking.
I was not. I'll admit it.
I was pretty clear the entire time. This team has to finish last. Give themselves the best chance they can get at a generational player. They screwed that up, and that's part of the assessment as to how good or how bad this management team has been. They screwed that up.
I mean, I wasn't expecting a Cayden Primeau to bleep the bed here. 640 save percentage in a hockey game, below 850 for his career. I mean, like I mentioned off the top, okay, the Canadiens have conceded 8 goals once, 7 goals, 6 goals 3 times. 3 times. He's been in net for 2 of the 6, for the 7, and for the 8 spot, brother. I mean, like, I did not foresee this happening,
Yeah.
And I guess and that's why I'm on AM radio. I'm not even good enough to be on FM. I'm on AM.
Imagine if the Canadiens had drafted.
I have takes like that.
Imagine they drafted Connor Bedard, Matvei Mishkov, and then Demidov.
Jesus, Mishkov. He's a bum. He was a healthy scratch for 2 games there. Tortorella to teach him a lesson, Eric.
Yeah, and then he drove his team to success last night. A goal and assist, and then a shootout goal.
Yeah, and they blew a 3-0 lead. when he scored the goal, they made it 3-0, and then they had to save them in the shootout in a 4-3 final in Philadelphia.
Canadians are bottom 3 in goals for, and historically have never been able to score goals in the 21st century. In the 21st century, they had been top 10 in team goals for twice, and one was the lockout shortened season in 2007. So
the Canadians are in Minnesota on Thursday at 8:00. Then they're back home to take on Columbus.
Let me ask you a question. Look, because you're covering this every day on your show, and we're big Habs fans, but you have to watch, although it's past your bedtime because you go to bed at 4:30. But
the 8:00 game, I'll probably watch 20 minutes.
20 minutes. So for me, and they're
not worth me being exhausted.
No, I spoke to a few of my buddies, and we're all kind of the same. We're not really mad, but there's apathy setting in. And apathy is the death knell for a team. The last thing you want to do is you want the Canadians, you don't want them to become the New York Jets. Yeah. And it's looking like it.
Yeah. And I was talking with Connor on TSN 690 about just that. And I use that word apathy because I don't know if you've seen it all on social, the numbers on TV for RDS for Canadian games. No. Not great. They're not holding. They're not holding.
Are they down?
Yeah. Are they down? Significantly. Yeah. Like and even, I don't know what the numbers were on TV for Saturday night, but RDS, in fairness, didn't have the game Saturday night. That was with TVA. But it was one of the I can't even think of the last time I was like less enthused or barely saw any vibe check online for a Saturday night Habs Leafs game. It was very, very demure, as the cool kids like to say these days. But the numbers, they're not holding because the entertainment, like they're not fast, they're not explosive, like they don't have any, like you watched when they played the Rangers, you saw what that's like. You saw Jack Hughes, you saw what that's like. Yep. You saw some teams with these explosive players, and like as you've been saying all episode today, like they're just not that talented, they're not that good. And it's fully being exposed here to the point where they had to snap a 6-game winless streak, and they did a back and forth game with Buffalo in a 7-5 final on a Monday afternoon. So it's Habs and Wild Thursday at 8. Then it's Columbus on Saturday. Let's wrap up in the car with Star, the home edition. I'm Sean Starr. That's Eric Macramella. Don't forget, Eric has his own radio show. Big, powerful man. His own radio show called Offside. It's my favorite radio show. More than the Howard Stern show.
You've never heard it, but yes, thank you.
You're full of shit because I texted you. Speaking of holding, you held me because this is great. I completely forgot to write this down. I wanted to bring this up. Is this good news or bad news for you that Trump is reelected as president? Is this good news or bad news for you?
Because of my Donald Trump loser of the week? It was going to stay anyway. It was going to stay.
Oh, it was. Okay.
Every show needs a bit of an anchor.
No, but I told
people
you,
try to get it off the show, but I don't. You know me. I don't really care. I'll just keep it on.
When you had your loser of the week, and it was the time.
The fantasy football one?
Your fantasy football. That was great. It was great. So I was listening. I was in the car. And you held me. I stayed. I didn't move over. I didn't want to go see what Chapel Rowan was singing on some FM band.
I'm glad I kept you engaged for 3 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. Listen, you're welcome.